Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered and Unapologetic, the space where we talk about healing, growth, faith, mindset, and the deeper work of becoming who we're meant to be without leaving our culture behind. I'm your host, Caitlin Gil-Soto, born and raised in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and also raised traveling back and forth between Bani and El Cibao, and proudly Dominicana. And today I want to start with something that might feel a little too familiar. Have you ever felt like your life is moving just slower than you expected? Like you're doing the work, you're showing up, you're trying to stay consistent, but things just aren't folding the way you thought they would by now. That space can feel confusing, sometimes even frustrating, because it's not that nothing is happening, it just doesn't feel like enough yet. But what I've come to understand is this. The life we want doesn't just appear one day. We have to grow into it. And sometimes the seasons that feel slow or uncertain are actually the ones preparing us for everything we've been asking for. So if life has felt quiet, uncertain, or slower than you expected lately, this episode is for you. Because sometimes the hardest part of faith isn't believing something is possible. It's waiting. Waiting while you pray, waiting while you work, waiting while you try to stay hopeful, waiting while you watch other people receive the very things you've been asking God for. And in those seasons, doubt can start to creep in. You begin asking yourself, did God hear me? Or did I miss my chance? Because when life feels quiet, that silence can start to feel like rejection. But something I've learned over time is this. Sometimes the answer isn't no. Sometimes the answer is not yet. Because blessings don't just come as moments. They come with responsibility, pressure, and decisions that shape your life. And if they arrive before you're ready to carry them, you can lose the very thing you prayed for. That's why sometimes God doesn't just answer the prayer. He prepares the person who prayed it. And that season of preparation can feel confusing. It can feel lonely. It can feel like your life is on pause while everyone else keeps moving. But many times, that quiet season is where the deepest transformation is happening, because the version of you who asked for the blessing is not always the version of you who can sustain it. And preparation is what closes that gap. Most of us know what we want. We can picture the life we dream about, the relationship, the career, the financial freedom, the peace we've been praying for. Desire is powerful. It shows us the direction our soul wants to move in. But desire often appears before readiness. You might want abundance while still thinking from a place of scarcity. You want love while still accepting relationships that hurt you. You might want purpose while still doubting your own abilities. And this is where preparation seasons begin. Because the version of you who prayed the prayer is often still growing into the version of you who can live the life you imagined. Preparation seasons stretch us. They reveal beliefs we didn't realize we had. They expose habits that would sabotage the future we say we want. They show us where we still need healing, discipline, and courage. Because sometimes the greatest barrier between you and your blessing is not the outside world. It's the internal patterns you are still carrying. Patterns like fear, self-doubt, people-pleasing, scarcity thinking. Preparation seasons exist so those patterns can be replaced with something stronger. Clarity, confidence, boundaries, faith. Because when the opportunity finally arrives, you won't need to become ready. You already will be. I have the first journal prompt here for you guys. What parts of me might still be growing before I receive what I asked for? And the affirmation for this question is, I welcome the growth that prepares me for my future. A blessing without character can quickly become a burden. Money without discipline can disappear. Success without humility can isolate us. Love without emotional maturity can become attachment instead of partnership. And this is something people rarely talk about. We often pray for the outcome without realizing the outcome will require a new version of us. Because anything meaningful in life changes you. A relationship changes you. Leadership changes you. Financial freedom changes you. Purpose changes you. And if your internal world hasn't grown strong enough to support that change, the blessing can feel overwhelming instead of fulfilling. So sometimes the delay is not punishment. It's alignment. Alignment between who you are today and who you must become to carry what is coming. And that alignment often happens quietly, in the way your mindset begins to shift, in the way you start valuing peace more than validation, in the way you begin choosing long-term growth instead of short-term comfort. Character grows slowly, but character is what makes blessings sustainable. I have another journal prompt here for you guys. What qualities would I need to sustain the life I want? And the affirmation for this question is, I am becoming someone who can carry the blessings I ask for. Preparation rarely feels exciting while you're inside of it. It can feel like doors closing, plans changing, opportunities appearing and disappearing. It can feel like you're moving forward and backward at the same time. And that uncertainty can be uncomfortable because our minds crave control. We want clear timelines, clear direction, clear reassurance that things are working out. But many of the most important transformations in life happen before we can see the outcome. Preparation seasons force us to ask deeper questions. Who am I becoming? What actually matters to me? What kind of life do I want to build? And those questions begin shaping the direction of your life long before the breakthrough arrives. Growth rarely happens in the spotlight. It happens quietly, internally, in the way you begin thinking differently, responding differently, choosing differently. And those internal shifts slowly change the trajectory of your life. I have another journal prompt here for you guys. What lessons might this season be trying to teach me? And the affirmation for this question is, even when I don't understand the process, I trust that growth is happening. There is also something happening during preparation seasons that most people don't realize. Your brain is actually rewiring itself, and this takes time. The brain changes through something called neuroplasticity. That simply means your brain has the ability to create new patterns of thinking and behaving. But those new patterns don't happen instantly. They form through repetition and experience. Every time you make a different choice, every time you set a boundary, every time you choose discipline instead of comfort, Every time you challenge a negative belief about yourself, your brain is slowly creating new neural pathways. You can think of neural pathways like roads in your mind. The thoughts you repeat the most become the most traveled roads. So if someone has spent years thinking, I'm not good enough, I'll probably fail, nothing ever works out for me, those thoughts become very strong mental highways. But during preparation seasons, life often forces us to start building new roads. Roads that sound like, I can handle this, I deserve better, I'm capable of more than I believed. At first, those new thoughts feel uncomfortable because they are like tiny dirt paths in the brain. They aren't familiar yet, but the more you repeat them, the more your brain strengthens those new pathways. And eventually, those new thoughts become the default way you think. That's why real growth takes time. You are not just changing your life externally, you are literally rewiring your brain internally. And once your mind begins to operate from a healthier place, your decisions change, your boundaries change, your confidence changes, and those internal shifts begin to change what shows up in your life. So sometimes the waiting season isn't just spiritual preparation. It's also neurological preparation. Your mind is learning how to hold the life you've been praying for. I have another journal prompt here for you guys. What beliefs about myself am I currently rewriting? And the affirmation for this question is, my mind is learning new ways to think, grow, and receive. There's another reason preparation seasons exist that people don't talk about enough. It has to do with your nervous system. Your nervous system is the part of your body that controls how safe or unsafe you feel in the world. And one of its main jobs is to keep things predictable. Not necessarily good, just predictable. This means something important. Your nervous system becomes familiar with whatever emotional environment you've lived in the longest. If someone grew up around chaos, their nervous system becomes familiar with chaos. If someone grew up around criticism, their nervous system becomes familiar with criticism. If someone has spent years struggling financially, their nervous system becomes familiar with stress around money. And when something unfamiliar appears, even if it's positive, the body can feel uncomfortable. This is why sometimes people pray for peace. But when life finally becomes peaceful, they feel restless. They pray for healthy love, but when a healthy relationship appears, they start questioning it. They pray for success, but when opportunity arrives, they start doubting themselves. It's not because they don't want the blessing. It's because their nervous system is not used to that level of safety yet. The body is trying to return to what feels familiar. Preparation seasons slowly change this. They allow your mind and your body to adapt to a new reality. You start learning that calm doesn't mean something is wrong. You start learning that stability is safe. You start learning that peace doesn't have to be temporary. And over time, your nervous system begins to relax into the life you once believed was impossible. This is why real transformation takes time. Because God isn't only preparing your circumstances. He's preparing your mind, your body, and your spirit to hold the life that you prayed for. I have another prompt here for you guys. What kind of emotional environment does my nervous system feel most familiar with? And the affirmation for this question is, my mind and body are learning that peace, growth, and abundance are safe for me. Most breakthroughs look sudden from the outside, but almost every breakthrough is built during quiet seasons. Seasons where no one is watching, where you're learning discipline, developing emotional resilience, learning how to trust yourself again, where you're building habits that will eventually support the life you want. Those seasons might not look dramatic, but they are construction periods. They are where the foundation of your future is being built. And foundations matter more than moments, because moments pass, but foundations hold everything together. I have another prompt for you guys. What quiet work is shaping me right now? And the affirmation for this question is, the work I am doing today is building the future I prayed for. One of the hardest things to do is honor a season that doesn't look like the life you imagined yet. But every season has a purpose. Some seasons are for planting. Some are for growth. Some are simply for becoming. Becoming wiser, becoming calmer, becoming more grounded in who you are. And when that inner shift happens, life often begins to move differently, because the person you are becoming is ready for a different reality. I have the last prompt here for you guys. How can I appreciate the growth happening in my life right now? And the affirmation for this question is, my life is unfolding in the timing that is right for me. If you are in a season that feels slow, where things feel uncertain, where the future feels a little unclear, it does not mean your prayers were ignored. It simply may mean your life is still being prepared. Prepared through lessons, prepared through growth, prepared through the quiet transformation that happens inside us long before the outside world changes. And one day you may look back and realize something powerful. The season that felt like waiting was actually the season that made everything possible. Now let's do the closing prayer. So take a deep breath and put your hand on your chest. Dear God, help us trust the seasons we do not fully understand. When life feels slow or uncertain, remind us that growth is still happening even when we cannot see it yet. Teach us patience while we prepare. Teach us wisdom while we learn. And help us become the kind of people who can carry the blessings we ask for with humility, responsibility, and gratitude. Amen. If this episode resonated with you, there are a few ways you can support Unfiltered and Unapologetic. First, you can leave a comment, review, or rating on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. I read them and they truly mean so much to me. It also helps the podcast reach more people who might need these conversations. If you'd like to support the show even further, you can also contribute monthly through Buzzsprout. Your support helps cover production and keeps the podcast going. You can find the link in the show notes. And if you enjoy journaling or want a space for reflection and intention, you can also check out my blank journals on Amazon, which I designed specifically for healing, reflection, and personal growth. Thank you for listening, sharing, and being a part of this community. Living and choosing on purpose. And don't forget to follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at Unfil and Unapologetic Pod. I'll see you in the next episode.